So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now remember this fact, you have to revise this lecture just after watching it because many of you don't. Okay, you just watch this lecture and hope that you will remember these current affairs till your exams. That never happens. You have to revise it, solidify in your memory. And that can happen if you revise it from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below. Okay. Alright then, let's begin today's lecture. And first, let's take a look at the list of topics. Okay, so let's begin. So daily current affairs, 18th November 2025, Tuesday. And here is the topics list. By the way, let me tell you in advance, well, today's lecture is going to be short because most of these news items are important from the perspective of prelims. They are factual news items, not much understanding is required, okay? Except the last one. Last one is completely mains oriented. The first three ones are important from the perspective of prelims. You just have to remember a few facts. That's about it. Okay. So topic number one is India's sea cows, also known as dugong. They are under threat. Okay. So we'll talk about them. The second is Ginkgo-toothed beaked whales. These beaked whales are rare sights. Okay. They are very rarely spotted. They're very shy. Okay, but they were spotted off the coast of California, so we'll talk about this species. The third is a mission, joint mission between USA and European Union called Sentinel 6B satellite to monitor oceans. So we'll talk about this, and then we'll talk about this mains-oriented article, National Newborn Week. And basically, in this news, Kerala was able to reduce its infant mortality rate. Okay. So the entire country, all the other states can learn from Kerala. So that is why I'm saying it is mains oriented. Your answers would improve from this. Okay. All right then. Let's discuss each of these news items, all these news items one by one, starting with topic number one, and that is India's sea cows under threat. Now, the thing is that sea cows, also known as dugong, well, they face a lot of threats. As far as IUCN is concerned, they are categorized as vulnerable, and in India's Wildlife Protection Act, well, they are categorized in Schedule 1. So they are severely threatened. Okay. Now, because they are threatened and they were in the news, it is important for us to know what are these sea cows, what role do they play in marine ecosystems, and what sort of threats they face. And has India taken any steps to conserve them or not? Of course, they have. Okay. So what are those steps? So we'll talk about all these things. All right. So let's begin. So India's sea cows under threat. So why were they in news? A new report launched at International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, Conservation Congress in Abu Dhabi, UAE last month, highlighted the growing threat to dugong, sea cow population in India, especially in India. Okay. Now, we need to know, first of all, what is this sea cow, dugong? Here's how it looks. Okay. Mostly this sea cow swims in shallow waters. It doesn't swim in deep waters. Okay. It is not found in deep waters, found in shallow waters very close to the coastline. Clear? Nonetheless, they are very important. They play a very key role as far as the ecosystem of coastal marine coastal ecosystems are concerned. Okay. So first of all, okay, first let's talk about what are they? What is this sea cow? So remember a few facts related to sea cow, dugong. Okay. These are large, of course they are large, herbivorous marine animals. Remember, they're not carnivorous. An MCQ can be asked. Marine animals primarily found in warm. Because they are primarily found in warm, that means they are mostly found in tropical waters. Remember this. They are not found in cold oceans. Okay. Shallow coastal waters. Waters that are not that deep. And these dugong sea cows are mostly found in Indo-Pacific. That means Indian Ocean and some parts of Pacific Ocean. Okay, so remember these facts. This entire statement itself is loaded with facts. So remember this. Now about their habitat. So they prefer warm coastal regions with shallow bays, estuaries, mangrove swamps, typically at depths up to 10 meters. So they only go up to the depths of 10 meters, though some sea cows have been seen to dive up to 37 meters as well. But that is very rare. Okay, up to 10 meters, that's about it. Now, in India or close to Indian coastline, they are mostly found in Gulf of Mannar, Tamil Nadu, Park Bay, again, Tamil Nadu, Gulf of Kutch, Gujarat, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. But do you know which area they are found the most? Well, Gulf of Mannar. Okay. By the way, they play a very important role as far as marine ecosystem is concerned. I said that, right? Why? Why do we say they play an important role? Well, they are known as gardeners of the sea for their crucial role in maintaining the health and productivity of seagrass beds. Okay, so the reason they swim in shallow waters is because the seabed is not that deep, and on the seabed there is seagrass. These sea cows basically forage or eat this seagrass. But while eating this seagrass, well, they uproot, they mix a lot of seagrass, okay, they uproot it. They basically do a lot of mixing, which is important for growth of, well, various microorganisms and, well, spreading the seeds of this seagrass. Basically, they are important, okay? They are long-lived mammals with a lifespan reaching up to 70 years. So yeah, they live a long life. Now, what is the significance? Seagrass ecosystem. Dugongs help maintain healthy seagrass ecosystems by grazing, which promotes carbon storage. By the way, remember, seagrass is an important carbon sink. So if seagrass ecosystem is healthy, well, it absorbs a lot of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which is very important for us because we are fighting climate change. There is too much carbon dioxide in the air. So we need those things which can capture it, sequester it, and store it, carbon sinks. It supports fisheries. Their feeding activity supports fisheries by enhancing habitat for commercially important fish, shellfish, invertebrates, and yes, carbon sink. Okay, now, what are the threats faced by these sea cows? Okay, I told you we will talk about the threats. This report by IUCN also said that they face a lot of threats, especially in the Indian coastline. So what are these threats? Habitat degradation and accidental entanglement in fishing nets. So most of the times, you know how coastal fishermen fish for fishes. Okay, how do they do that? They spread those fishing nets, and whatever they catch, well, they use it for selling or whatever reason. Okay, now sometimes these sea cows get caught in those fishing nets, and that leads to accidental deaths. Then the problem of pollution is there, high turbidity in coastal waters. Okay, because many boats are moving around. Plus, toxic metal contamination from industrial discharge and agricultural runoff affects dugong tissues because there is a lot of heavy metal pollution, arsenic, cadmium, chromium, mercury, lead, which really harms their tissues. Then they have a slow reproductive rate. So their population increases very late. So that is why they are vulnerable to extinction. Okay. And fishing related mortality remains significant. Yes, by the way, fishermen are the most active in Tamil Nadu and Andaman regions. Okay, so that is why the fishing net related deaths are mostly there in Tamil Nadu and Andaman regions. Okay, now what is their situation in India? Where are they most found? And has Indian government taken any steps to preserve them? Of course. So dugong populations in India have drastically declined, with current estimates ranging between 250 to 450, just 250 to 450 sea cows left. The largest stable population is found in Gulf of Mannar, Park Bay. Now, government has taken many steps. Like Ministry of Environment formed a dugong task force in 2010 to conserve their numbers. National Dugong Recovery Program was launched, including partnerships with Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And Dugong Conservation Reserve was established in Park Bay, Tamil Nadu, where special efforts are made to preserve this species. That's about it. That's all you need to know. Okay? All right. Now let's quickly shift our focus to another news item, which is again related to, well, marine ecosystem. Okay, and that is Ginkgo-toothed beaked whales. Now, beaked whales are very rare. The reason why they are very rare is not because their population is less. It's because they are very shy. Whenever there is a boat passing by or researchers are passing by, they hide themselves. They're very shy. Rarely researchers have spotted them. But recently they were spotted off the coast of California. And it became a very big news because for so many years, this particular beaked whale was not seen at all in the wild. So that is why this became an international news. And it becomes important for us to talk about it, study about it, remember certain facts, because MCQs can be asked. UPSC is very weird. They can ask far-fetched facts also. That is why we discuss far-fetched news items as well. So let's discuss this, okay? So Ginkgo-toothed beaked whales. So this beaked whale is a rare species of beaked whale spotted in wild for the first time of the coast of Baja California, coast of Baja California, Mexico. Okay, beaked whales are the second most diverse group of cetaceans after dolphins, with 24 species, including this one. So it is said that their population is also less, around 24 are left. Okay, that's how they look. Okay, they have a beak. Now, let's just finish it very quickly, okay? Because, well, chances are that question won't be asked from this, but what if? That's why we are covering far-fetched news items. Okay, so let's quickly discuss all the facts related to this particular species of whale. So, Ginkgo-toothed beak whale, a rare and elusive marine animal inhabiting warm tropical, plus it is also found in cold waters also, temperate waters also. So, don't say that it is only found in tropical waters, unlike sea cow, okay? Found across Indo-Pacific region, including areas from Sri Lanka through Japan to California and Mexico. It likely inhabits deep offshore waters. So unlike sea cow, it doesn't live in shallow waters. It dives very deep. That's why it is very difficult to capture their image. Okay. With few strandings recorded around places such as Sri Lanka, Japan, Taiwan, California. Now, some people say that they are also close to Indian coast, but so far it has not been confirmed. Okay. People are just guessing. Okay. They are shy and easily frightened by boats, making them elusive for researchers. Now, why are they significant? Why should we know about them? Why should we study them? Well, beaked whales are among the largest and least known mammals on the planet, highlighting gaps in marine biodiversity knowledge. It will enhance our biodiversity knowledge, okay? Because they are the least studied species, okay? Further research is critical for their conservation and understanding the impact of human activities like naval exercises, aircraft carriers, submarines, okay? Now, conservation concerns. The Ginkgo-toothed and other beaked whales are sensitive to military sonar because military exercises are conducted, submarines talk to each other through sonar. This sonar disrupts their feeding and cause injury or death due to rapid surfacing. Okay, because if in deep waters sonar communication is going on, they get frightened and they reach to the surface, and well, that sometimes creates problems. Knowing their habitat is important to mitigate harm by restricting military sonar use in these areas. So, knowing about their habitat, we will restrict military exercises in those areas. Okay, that's about it. That's all you need to know. Now, let's quickly shift our focus to another short news item, and that is Sentinel 6B satellite. Now, this satellite or this series of satellites called Sentinel satellites, it's a joint mission between European Union, European Space Agency, NASA, and National Ocean and Atmospheric Agency of USA. Okay, so it's a joint mission between USA and European Union. What they are doing is, you see, studying oceans is very important if you really want to understand climate change. Why? Because climate change will cause global sea level rise. So we need to monitor sea level rise. Now, there are various sensors, instruments through which we can study oceans. Plus, studying oceans is also important because so many important cities lie on the coastlines. So there is coastal infrastructure. Plus, do you know what? Our internet is run by these undersea cables. These cables which carry information from one continent to another, and internet is functional because of this. Now, this is a key infrastructure. We need to understand what is happening in the ocean to save this critical infrastructure, right? So we need to monitor and study oceans. And what better way to study oceans than by these remote sensing Earth observation satellites? So NASA and European Space Agency has launched these series of dedicated specialist Earth observation satellites whose job would be to observe the oceans. Okay, so this is what you should know about Sentinel satellites. That's about it. Okay, so let's talk about it. So Sentinel 6B satellite. So why were they in the news? Sentinel 6B was launched from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. It's an ocean tracking satellite with 6 onboard science instruments that will measure the rising sea levels and its impact on the planet. Okay, so basically to study climate change. Now, about this satellite, the satellite mission is a collaboration between NASA, National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, which is again of USA, and European Space Agency. Sentinel 6B is a follow-up to Sentinel 6 Michael Frelick satellite, launched in 2020. Like I told you, that Sentinel is a series of satellites. So the previous satellite was Sentinel 6. This is Sentinel 6B. Okay. Sentinel 6B orbits the Earth at 7.2 km per second. So it's in low Earth orbit and it is traveling at this speed, completing one revolution every 112 minutes. So every 2 hours, it completes one round of the Earth. Okay. It can measure sea level changes with precision up to approximately 1 inch. That's pretty precise. Okay. 1 inch change in sea level can be measured by this. And this satellite will cover over 90% of the global ocean surface. So it's a good satellite, by the way. Now, what is the significance? Well, we'll do climate change monitoring. What impact does climate change or global warming has on sea level rise? Then weather forecasting. Okay, any tsunamis, any ocean currents, all of this. Okay, then undersea infrastructure. Okay, I told you undersea cables. Plus, it will also improve maritime shipping safety because advanced data or early warning could be given if there is any crisis in any part of the ocean, any disaster is about to come in any part of the ocean. So we would advise ships to stay clear, okay, or avoid that route. So this is there. And this will allow real-time decision making for policymakers, climate policymakers. Okay, that's about it. And now let's finally come to a news item that is important mostly for your mains exam, and that is National Newborn Week. So look, National Newborn Week is being celebrated in India from November 15 to November 21. And the idea is to protect and enhance the safety of newborns in our country. You see, in India, infant mortality rate is very high. Okay, what is infant mortality rate? Well, per 1,000 live births in 1 year, how many children per 1,000 births, how many children die within 1 year before they reach the age of 1, before they get to their first birthday? So how many children out of 1,000 die? This is infant mortality rate. Now this is pretty high in India, except one state, and that is Kerala. Kerala has dramatically reduced their infant mortality rate. So much so that Kerala's infant mortality rate is lesser than even USA. It is definitely less than national average of India. It is doing better than other states of India. It is even doing better than USA. So this article talks about steps taken by Kerala government because of which this has happened to Kerala. Okay. So in this National Newborn Week, other states and the center can learn something from Kerala. Okay. So let's talk about this. So National Newborn Week. Okay. As the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare marks National Newborn Week from November 15 to 21, government data shows that Kerala's IMR, infant mortality rate of 5 deaths per 1,000 live births, is significantly lower than national average of 25, but it is also lower than US, which has an average of 5.6. So Kerala has done something better. Okay. Now first let's talk about what is infant mortality rate and why is it useful to measure it. So IMR measures deaths of children under 1 year age per 1,000 live births in 1 year. Okay. It reflects the probability that a child born in a particular year will die before reaching the first birthday. Now, IMR is widely used to assess a nation's overall health, how health facilities are available to pregnant mothers and others. Okay. Effectiveness of prenatal and postnatal care. Okay, prenatal before birth, postnatal. Sanitation, because most children die of diarrhea, sanitation, nutrition, social development, everything. Now in India, IMR is generally high. We are not talking about Kerala, we are talking about the rest of the country. IMR is a big challenge, has been a big challenge since independence. I guess even before independence also, even during the British rule. Infant mortality rate has been pretty high in India. Now, what are the reasons that despite so many medical facilities, infant mortality rate is still high in India? What are the challenges? The biggest challenge is neonatal deaths. Now, remember this term neonatal deaths, a fact important for prelims, okay? When a child dies within the first 28 days of birth, well, that is neonatal death, okay? This generally happens to premature births, low birth weight, and asphyxia. Sometimes babies choke on their own placenta, so that also happens. Rural-urban disparities exist with higher IMR among tribal and coastal populations, okay? Because tribal people do not have that good an access to medical facilities, modern medical facilities, okay? They rely on their own traditional systems. Then cultural myths around breastfeeding. In some cultures, they say breastfeeding shouldn't be allowed. Many cultures, tribals, remote communities, they are resistant towards vaccination, children vaccination, universal immunization program, all these things. So this causes deaths. Now, these are the major reasons. But Kerala government did a lot to tackle this. Okay, they tackled all these things and took their infant mortality rate to 5. So maybe Kerala was doing something different. Well, Kerala launched a host of schemes to solve this problem. Okay, they launched a lot of schemes. Now, the list of those schemes is given in your notes, so do check that out and remember 2 or 3 of them to quote in your mains answers. Okay, so the list of schemes is given in your notes. What did Kerala government do to solve this problem? Okay, they took care of pregnant mothers, they took care of vaccination, they took care of institutional deliveries. Okay, that babies should be delivered in a hospital, not homes. All these things were targeted. Okay, so there were different schemes for all these things. Well, do check those schemes in our notes. And why is this learning from Kerala significant? Kerala's success attributed to strong social investment, effective public health policies, targeted interventions, and robust public distribution system. The state provides a model for reducing IMR through comprehensive neonatal care, first 28 days, early diagnosis of any disease, community engagement, people should come together, okay, community level engagement, and health infrastructure. These steps should be taken the way Kerala took them, okay? And well, this problem can be solved. That's the whole idea of this article, by the way, okay? So yeah, that's about it. With that, we conclude today's session. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. Even if you are not sure, I'm telling you, this lecture has added value to your preparation. But it will add more value if you are regular with it. If you're regular and you revise each and every lecture from the notes in on our Telegram channel. Okay? So in that hope that you're doing that already, I shall take your leave and will promise you to see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.